Hello everyone. This week you had to read an article called The Staggering Number of Wrongful Convictions in America, written by Samuel R. Gross. And then you needed to write up a summary and a critical response. In this video, we'll practice how to write the summary for this article. So in the Cobra folder, I have put up the packet for how to write a summary again from week 2. So if you don't go back to week 2 for it, you can find it in week 3. Remember, you're going to have 2 paragraphs. The first one will have those 4 pieces of information about the article, and then you need your thesis statement that includes topic and author's opinion about the topic. So let's go ahead and open up a Word document. Make sure we set it at Calibri or Times New Roman font type, font size 12, and we're going to double space. Alright, you'll put your name, what assignment it is, and then whatever date it is. Alright, and you don't have to have a title unless you want one. So remember, you're going to indent each paragraph. That is using the tab key on your keyboard next to the Q. All right. So again, remember here in our packet on how to write a summary, they had an example of how to write out those 4 pieces of information. And like I said, use it as a formula, okay? So in the article, and then the article title, all important words capitalized in quotes, then the author's name, and then in parentheses they have the source. So the newspaper or magazine the article came from in italics, and then the date. Alrighty. So in the article, the staggering number of wrongful convictions in America by Samuel R. Gross. And then in parentheses, we've got Washington Post, and this here on your article is in italics. So make sure we italicize it. Washington Post. And then don't forget to unitalicize, comma, and then the date. All right, so we have all 4 parts. So in the article, The Staggering Number of Wrongful Convictions in America by Samuel R. Gross, and then Washington Post, July 24, 2015, the author states that, and then take a look back at this article. What is he talking about to begin with? Okay, our topic is in the title itself, wrongful convictions, but then he talks about wrongful convictions throughout it. Okay. So here, and we don't have to put states that, you can use whatever verb here you want. So we can say the author explains what wrongful convictions are, why they happen, and what possibly can be done to fix the problem in our justice system. Okay? So he does a couple of different things here in this article. He talks about what wrongful convictions are. So for example, here in the paragraphs 2 and 3, he talks about Rafael Suarez, okay, and his example of how he was wrongfully convicted, especially because he had an ineffective assistance of counsel. His lawyer didn't do his job. And then we go into talking about why some of this happens. He talks about the Innocence Project, percentages. So here he talked about the 41% of defendants who are sentenced to death in America are later shown to be innocent. So that was 1 in 25. For death sentences, it's really well documented. For minor ones, for misdemeanor courts, it's not. And then here we have Gregory. That was another example. And then they talk about how a lot of, even for wrongful convictions, when people have not done the crime, they still plead guilty. Why? So he's kind of explaining how this works. And then at the end, in the last sentence, he talks about we can do better. Okay? So it'll cost money, careful investigations, fewer quick guilty pleas, conduct more trials, and make sure those trials are well done. Okay? So obviously he could go into a lot more detail, but this is a shorter piece where he just wants to give kind of the bare minimum about wrongful convictions and why we see such a large amount of them. Okay? So that is our 4 pieces of information about the author, and then, or the article, and then here is our topic, and then what he did, what he explained in that article. So then in the next paragraph, make sure you tab and indent that paragraph. Simply go back through each paragraph and just write a summary sentence for what he does in each paragraph. Okay? So in this first paragraph, he talks about being part of the National Registry of Exonerations and all the devastating cases he has to read about. Okay? So remember, when we refer back to the author, we're going to just use the last name. So Gross works for the National Registry of Exonerations. He has to read about the cases of people who were wrongfully convicted, and they are horrifying to read. So put it into your own words, okay? So if you had your friend or a sibling sitting next to you, how would you describe what he's talking about? Okay? Then here we have this example of Rafael Suarez. So that could be for a couple of sentences here. You know, we could write a sentence or two about his case. He uses the example of, let's make sure I spell it right. Who was wrongfully convicted because his lawyer did not do his job properly. In the end, Suarez lost the people in his life, as well as not being compensated for what he went through. Okay, so there are just a couple of sentences that covers these few paragraphs. Okay. All right, and so that's what you're going to do with each one. Take a look at that paragraph, read through it. All right, what is his main point in that paragraph? So here in paragraph, let's see which one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're on 5 now. We can say Suarez served 3 years in prison for a crime he didn't commit. The average time served for the 1,625 exonerated individuals in the registry is more than 9 years. Last year, 3 innocent murder defendants in Cleveland were exonerated. 39 years after they were convicted, they spent their entire adult lives in prison, and even they were lucky. We know without doubt that the vast majority of innocent defendants who are convicted of crimes are never identified and cleared. So we can say here, Gross talks about how many innocent defendants spend decades in prison before they are exonerated. However, we know that many innocent people are never released. Okay? So then you'll go to the next paragraph. They talk about how the registry receives 4 to 5 letters a week from prisoners who claim to be innocent. They're heartbreaking. Most of the writers are probably guilty, but some undoubtedly are not. We tell them that we can't help. We are a research project only. We don't represent clients or investigate claims of innocence. Fair enough, I guess, but some innocent prisoners who have been exonerated wrote hundreds of these letters before anybody took notice. How many innocent defendants have I ignored? All right, so then you can say Gross reflects on how the registry is only a research organization. They do not help exonerate innocent people like the innocence projects do. Okay, and then that will segue into your next paragraph where they talk about innocence projects. Okay, so that hopefully will help you get started writing the summary for this paper. Okay, so I'll post this example up on Cobra just so that you can take a look at it again. Remember, put it into your own words. With each paragraph, ask yourself, what is that author trying to convey? What information is he trying to convey to you in that paragraph? And just put it into your own words. If you have questions or you get part of your summary written up and you want feedback, just email me and let me know and I'll be happy to help. Talk to you guys later.